Howdy friends, welcome back to Plumbing with Tim. Today we're on location in beautiful Western Kentucky. So we've arrived at a little lake cottage near the Kentucky-Tennessee border on the Kentucky Lake. In today's video, I want to explain to you the do's and don'ts of how to keep your plumbing from freezing and breaking when the cold weather comes and winter hits. So about 2.5 weeks ago, this area was struck with an unprecedented blizzard where the temperatures went from balmy 45 degrees Fahrenheit to 20 below in a matter of 12 hours. At the least, there wasn't anybody in this area that was expecting that kind of a storm to hit that hard, that fast. Within the first 24 hours, our company received over 200 plus calls of people with broken pipes. So I've already been up underneath the cottage and everything, surveyed the area, cut out some of the damage. We're going to return underneath there, make some repairs, and then we're going to talk about why so many people got it in the shorts when they didn't protect their pipes from bursting. Wow. There's a little bit of room up in here. I had to bring some plastic with me, but there is other plastic that was laid down. Let's get over to the spot and I'll show what we're working with. Yikes. Up over there in that area. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can zoom that in. There's some pipes hanging out. I end up cutting some of that stuff out and I'll show what it looks like. But we've got 3/4 inch PVC as well as some 1/2 inch CPVC that's running through here. I'm currently underneath the kitchen and the lines run along the back of the house, that direction, laundry room, as well as another bathroom back in there. Listen, can you hear that? That's a water heater up top of my head. It sounds like it's trying to heat. The water's off here to the property. They're on an artesian well system with well pumps and stuff out in the house. Take a look here what I had to cut out. All right, so I had some 3/4 inch PVC and there was a T there. We're going to show you that damaged stuff when we come back out. Now it teed off and went that direction towards the back of the house. This I'm not sure. I believe it goes over towards the kitchen sink. There's a piece of 1/2 inch CPVC I had to cut. This T went and it followed down through here, and I'll show you. There's a piece of 3/4 inch pipe hanging out right there, and that broke there as well, and it heads out along the back of the house. I believe there's a bathroom back there. You can see a P-trap, looks like for a tub or something. I don't know how far that line cracked and split. Here's the other piece of that 1/2 inch CPVC. So both of these lines got compromised. One is going to be for the hot, which I think the 1/2 inch CPVC is, and I believe that they ran 3/4 inch PVC for the hot. I don't know yet. I just know that both of that pipe and the pipe right here above my head were compromised. If you look really carefully on this piece of 3/4 inch PVC, see, look at that hairline split. I don't know how far back it went. So what we're going to do is an initial break happened here, and it happened behind me where I showed you the other pipe. That goes over and goes up into the house on a 90. I'm going to start cutting until the pipe doesn't split anymore. But it looks like we got at least a good foot or so left of split pipe. Like I said, at this junction, when I got underneath here earlier, there was a T, and the T was blown apart, and I'll show you that. Also sitting on top of it was that 1/2 inch CPVC pipe you see sitting there, and I had to cut a section of it out because it split. But just because that's what I saw doesn't mean that the lines itself don't have a hairline split in them. So we're going to take our cutters and I'm going to go through and just make some cuts until I can't see it split anymore. In all essence, I should just tear all this out of here and not take the chance, but I'm a one-man show at this point. All right, I see the split, at least to here. I want to take a look and see if this, yep. See, as I put pressure on this, I see the split going further, at least another inch or so. So I'm going to come off that. And we're going to go back to at least here. And if I put pressure on this thing, and it's got a crack in it, then I know we're going to have to take out more. But I'm hoping it isn't going any further than that. That felt pretty solid, but this end piece that was leading up to the T has got a big old crack in it. So I put that T together on that 3/4 inch PVC further up, and now we're down to the other end of it broke. Let me show you how that looks. Yikes. You see that? Look at that crack, that split right there. I don't know how far back that thing broke. This pipe here is the new one that I glued in. This is the one that needs to be tied back in. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to cut this back off as far as I can think that there might be a crack in it. Then we're going to head back out. We're going to wrap things up for the day because I'm going to have to come back and replace a lot of that CPVC as well. And we'll talk about all this. All right, so you got a chance to see a little bit of what happened. I've got to come back here tomorrow. I've got an inkling that there's a lot more of the pipe that's broke, that's back on that end of the house where the other bathroom is that I haven't gotten to yet. Luckily, nobody lives here full time. This is like a weekend getaway for the summer. Take a look at what I cut out of there so far. This was that 3/4 inch T that we ended up putting back together. See how that's blown apart? And there's a crack in the fitting right there. Yeah. That's what happens when it gets cold. It can do stuff like that. Yikes. You notice how both of these blowouts happen near a fitting as well. Take a look at the other end of this pipe. Completely shattered. Look at that good stuff. See that? Look at all the splinters in that thing. Yikes. Ouch. CPVC didn't do very well either. See that? Look at them cracks that are in there. Blew it apart. This was on the hot side. They're going to hear some of you folks say, what do you know about cold weather and stuff, Tim? You're from Florida. Well, this is my first winter, and I've learned real fast. I'm a quick study when it comes to stuff like this. And I can tell you what, right now, hands down, public enemy number one when it comes to these pipes freezing and exploding the way they did is draft, the wind, the air. Let me show you some examples. These houses up here in Kentucky usually have crawl spaces, and there's vents. And that way during the summertime and everything, they can take and release humidity and stuff so you don't have a buildup of moisture up underneath. You look closely there, the vents are wide open. And it's like that around the entire house. Not to mention the fact around the vents all have open areas because this is metal siding that they cut out. This is all done wrong. It was not planned very wisely when it comes to the winter weather. Seams in the siding. See, this doesn't look like much. Air gets in there, it gets trapped down underneath, and there you go. Somebody might say, well, why don't you just wrap it with insulation? See this pipe that's all blown out? Every bit of it was wrapped in insulation. What you saw up underneath, I had taken the insulation off. So insulation isn't a bad idea, but it's not going to save your butt, trust me. Other good practice is to make sure, whether you live in the house or it be just a weekend getaway or whatever, make sure to keep some heat on inside the house. And if you know there's some plumbing that's coming up in a cabinet, leave the cabinet doors open. And if it's really that bad, like you always hear people say, make sure to run a faucet. Just let it drip, 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 drip. That way the water won't have time to sit still and to freeze up. But in this case, it got so cold so fast, even people that had faucets dripping, it didn't save them. They still had pipes blow out. Case like this house, poorly designed skirting. This is his house. This is not a mobile home. Yet another vent, and the vent is open. It was never closed. In this case, if they were going to keep the metal in here, at least they could do is take the 6 screws out of here, pull the cover plate out of here, and stuff some insulation in that place. Get that vent closed, put the cover back on there, even put plastic over this, whatever. You have to keep that draft out of there. Then come springtime, take all that out, open your vents up to keep humidity from building up underneath your house. Now, we're not quite done. There's a lot of ways that you can protect your plumbing. Right now, we're going to head over to the well house, and let's talk about that. inside of that box, I would take it that there's a pump and everything. Let's go ahead and open it up. Yes, sir. A submerged pump. You see all that stuff going on in there? What's wrong? They got a heat lamp in here, but it isn't on. Heat lamp ain't gonna do a damn bit of good if it's not plugged in and working. Here in rural Western Kentucky, and when I say rural, it's very rural, a good share of folks are on well systems. This right here, in my opinion, is one of the best bets to have inside your well house. It's a little hot shoe heater. These things get hot enough where you can boil water on top of it, but it's enough heat to keep in there next to where your pipes are, your pumps are, all that stuff, and it has a thermostat on there, and it has settings and everything, so you can turn on low, whatever, and so when it gets down to a temperature where it feels it needs to come on, it will. And this is only 30 bucks. That's a lot cheaper than to spend $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 replacing everything inside your well house. Trust me. So those of you folks who live in cold weather regions, if you have an outside spigot or whatever, make sure to get yourself an outside hose bib cover. You buy them, it shows you how to work them. It's insulated. It will cover up that spigot. Now, a lot of people that have outdoor spigots and stuff, it's going to be on you if you leave the hose plugged into it, because it'll end up freezing it. Outside spigots here in Midwest and other cold weather regions and stuff, this is a product that a lot of people insist on installing in their home. Frost-proof hydrant. This is the same almost as a spigot and stuff, but a regular hose bib, when you shut it off, the washer's up in here. Now, what happens to the rest of that pipe and stuff when water is still present in there and it wants to freeze? Well, check this out. On the end of here, you can see that that's where the washer is. This goes in through the house, through the wall, and when you turn the hydrant off, this is installed where it is actually angled down just a little bit, and when the water turns off, every bit of water from that point to the end of the spigot drains out, which means you're not going to have any water left in here. The water pressure stops right there where the threads end. Brilliant. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching the video. Public enemy number one when it comes to your plumbing is cold, drafty air. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you live in a cold, freeze-prone area of the country, sooner or later you're going to end up getting one of these storms that came through here like we did, and you're going to find out how well you're not insulated when it comes to your home and your plumbing. So do whatever it takes, and remember that breeze, wherever it can get in, if there's plumbing anywhere near, it's going to break it. Got any comments, questions, leave them down below. Until next time, don't forget to keep plumbing.